Have you heard people say that Jesus is the reason for the season? Talking about Christmas. Hi, this is Keith Slough from Ambassador Christian College. Let's talk about this expression, the joys of Christmas. What is it that people love about Christmas? Well, the music's pretty. It's not the typical rock and roll stuff. You get some of the really old ones. Even Bing Crosby singing White Christmas. I mean, who doesn't like that? Or Jingle Bells and this type of thing. And so in the wintertime, when things are getting cold and the nights are very long, the days are shorter, and it's a dreary time of the year, and people are affected by something called SAD, S-A-D, seasonal affective disorder. And so Christmas, with all the bright lights, seems to compensate for the rather dismal wintry months. Way back thousands of years ago, the ancient heathen nations, had come up with something. Of course, they added religious significance to it, but they wanted to have some kind of a celebration in the dead of winter. And of course, at this time of the year, the days are getting shorter when you approach Christmas time. And so November, to me, is one of the dreariest months. Actually, November and December, two of the dreariest months, because the days are getting shorter and shorter, and they continue to get shorter until the first day of winter. Did you know that? But here's the reason why people like Christmas: the bright lights, the good music, hearing the jingle bells and the songs. Winter wonderland, and of course, there's the hot chocolate. The idea that, how's that song go? Roasting chestnuts on an open fire. I don't think people even roast chestnuts anymore. Of course, there aren't that many open fires anymore. A lovely golden glow from a fireplace. Being with somebody you love, all good. And it makes the long winter nights go by pretty good. I've got an Amish fireplace. And of course, family reunions. People love to get together at this time of the year in December. Even romantic movies on the Hallmark Channel. But let me ask you this question. Does any of this have anything to do with the birthday of Jesus Christ? Fact of the matter is, it doesn't. Just as parents lie to their children and tell them about Santa Claus and the flying reindeer and all the rest of that nonsense, that this guy's coming down the chimney, he's going to leave you all these gifts. Well, just as parents lie to their children, so the churches have lied to the adults. When anytime a church, a pastor, the clergy, the leadership of a denomination says this is Jesus' birthday, they're lying through their teeth to you. They know better than that. If I got on the radio and told you this is Jesus' birthday, I'd be lying through my teeth. And Revelation chapter 21, verse 8 says, all liars will have their part in the lake of fire. Listen, pastor, stop lying to your congregation. Don't tell them that Christmas is Jesus' birthday. You know better than that. And truth to tell, an awful lot of the laity knows better. And I know what people are thinking. I know what you're thinking. I know exactly what you're thinking. You're being picky. What difference does it make that it's not his birthday? We enjoy celebrating it. I know you do. But what I want to do is point out the fact, because if you understand these things, you would be shocked, and I have been, at how few people. We think everybody knows it's not his birthday. Do you know there are even guys going into the ministry who actually think it is? Because I met a fellow one time, and I said, when you go into the ministry, you're going to be surprised at how little education most church goers actually have about these things. For example, you're going to run into people who still believe that December 25th is Jesus' birthday. He looked at me seriously. He said, you mean it's not? And he was in ministerial training to go into the ministry, which he did when he got out. He went into the ministry. And but that college he was going through, that school, it wasn't a college, it was a Bible school, did not tell him that. And so he didn't know. And I got to be friends with the old boy, and I told him about that. And isn't it amazing that there's so much ignorance amongst professing Christians these days that they don't know these things? So if you think I'm being picky, understand something. I'm trying to undo the damage. I'm doing some damage control for people who think that Christmas is Jesus' birthday. Where'd it come from then? That's what my students ask me every year at Ambassador Christian College, where I tell them the truth. And they say, well, if it's not his birthday, how did they come up with the date of December? And how did they come up with the exact date of the 25th? And so I tell them the truth about that. But before I get into that on this short program, I want to talk to you about some of the other things that I've read just recently on the internet. Let me read to you a statement here from, this is from Psychology Today. Psychology Today magazine reports that up to 45% of North Americans dread the holiday season. Now, if it's really Jesus' birthday, why would they be dreading it if they're Christians? The fact of the matter is, the Christmas holiday is about shopping, it's about commerce and money making, and it pours a lot of money into the economy. It does. This time of the year, everybody's out buying stuff, whether they can afford it or not, but there's so much stress connected with it. Not for me, I don't observe it. I'm very happy to tell you. I am ecstatic to tell you, as an ordained minister for over 3 decades, I do not celebrate Christmas. I gave it up a long time ago. Back in the 60s is when I gave it up. And I've never missed it. Oh, I can sit and enjoy hot chocolate. And if somebody gives me, holiday candy and fudge and that, I'll enjoy it. And I can sit in front of a fireplace and enjoy. Oh, yeah. I have a much better time than all you folks who actually celebrate Christmas as if you thought it was the birthday of Jesus. By the way, let me detract for just a moment. When was Jesus born? Scholars agree it was in the autumn. In fact, most of them will tell you it was around the last week of September. Some scholars even place it as early as possibly the 15th of September, which would put it in summertime. Jesus was born in a very warm climate when the shepherds were still out in the field and watching their sheep by night. And you can read the Adam Clark commentary, which will tell you that shepherds after October the 1st, because that's when the rainy season begins over there in Palestine, they would go inside, take their sheep inside because there was no more grazing. There's frost or snow out there, especially in the area of Bethlehem and Jerusalem and that area, the elevation being as high as it is. I mean, they have snow over there. They do. They have snow. In fact, Jerusalem is almost 3,000 foot elevation, which is about what Boone and Blowing Rock is in North Carolina. For those of you who are listening outside of the area, that's in our mountainous area, in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, which is where I'm broadcasting from. So it got cold over there. The shepherds were not out there, laying out there in the pastures the last week of December. They would have frozen. They had got cold. And the sheep, no, they had them in after October the 1st. They got inside and stayed warm. And so the fact that the shepherds were out in the field, Adam Clark commentary, which was written, I think, in the 19th century, but a very reputable, very famous commentary. Many of you have it in your own homes. If you're a student of the Bible, you've got probably an Adam Clark commentary. Go look it up. And you'll find out that even that commentary tells you there is no way, shape, or form that Jesus was born the last week of December. But there are other problems with this. For example, as Psychology Today magazine says, up to 45%, about every other person dreads Christmas. And that's the people who observe it. The National Institute of Health, NIH, which is up in the Washington, D.C. area, says that Christmas is associated with a spike in suicides as well as an increase in the number of cases of depression. And I'm quoting here, this came from the internet. I just got it off this week as I'm doing this program. Now they say there's an increase in the number of suicides at this time. And then I have an article written by a psychotherapist who talks about the fact that, let's see if I can find it here, they are trying to curb this, and so they really work really hard, especially in December, to try to help people with depression. Why is there so much depression? He says it's going down now, so maybe it is. I don't know. One says it's increasing, one says it's going down, but here it is. Here's this doctor, he's a PhD, Dr. Michael Rubino, and he says this: many people assume that the holidays and depression go together and that suicide rates increase during this time. He says, well, he said, there is a drop right now. Maybe the drop, he says, is because during this time of year, we pay more attention to depression and suicide. Well, good for them. So maybe there is now finally a drop in suicide and homicides. Let's hope so. There are a number of ads and social media posts where people can call if they feel suicidal, says Dr. Rubino. And then he adds this: what the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, did find is that loneliness increases during this time of the year. Isn't that something? So with all the holiday songs and all the family togetherness and all the tinsel joy, it's a sad time. It's a time when people dread it. Half right at half, and that's just the people who admitted it. There are a lot of Christians who would not admit that they dread Christmas. There are a lot of Christians who would say, "Oh, no, Merry Christmas, no, I don't dread it. Well, I'm very happy. This is Jesus' birthday. I wouldn't dare," and they start clearing their throat. They wouldn't dare say they dread Christmas, and yet secretly they do, but 45% admitted they did. Dr. Rubino, he's a PhD psychotherapist. He continued in this article, if you are a military family, a loved one may be stationed overseas and won't be home for Christmas, and that makes you lonely and sad. Also, during the year, some close friends or loved ones may have died during the year. It's during this time when most people are talking about family and friends that you remember the people that you have lost over the year. The first holiday season without a close loved one or friend can be very difficult. You may not feel you may not be feeling like celebrating, or you may have to change holiday traditions, which can make someone feel sad and lonely. So we have holiday traditions that make us feel sad and make us feel lonely. Isn't that a shame? Why should any kind of holiday that's associated with Jesus Christ make us sad and lonely? I've got an article here I'd like to make available to you. It's the truth about the holidays that Christians celebrate, and you ought to find out the truth about Christmas. First of all, it's not the birthday of Jesus. And secondly, should we be going through all this dread and stress and, oh no, 11 months from now, we got to do it all over again? I've been saying that for years on this radio program. But people grow right on and do it. And they go through all the stress. And some people even buy Christmas presents on their credit card, and God doesn't want us going in debt. Listen, you're not going to get a Christmas card from me. You're not going to get any presents from me, so don't send me one. You can if you want to, but I'm not sending you a thing. I don't pay 1 red cent for Christmas. I'm not going to do it. Because, first of all, it has nothing to do with Christ. And there's another thing, too, that many of you don't know. And that's the fact that the 25th of December was an ancient holiday where they used exchanging of gifts and decorating their homes and so on in honor of the sun god of ancient Babylon named Tammuz. The Phoenicians called the sun god Baal, and the Egyptians called the sun god Ra, and the Romans called their sun god Mithras. But one thing all these various sun gods had in common: they worshipped the sun on his birthday of December the 25th, which on the old Roman calendar, now we use a Roman calendar, but the old Julian calendar, we use the Gregorian Roman calendar. But on the old Julian calendar, that fell about, I think it actually was the 25th. I think on our calendar, the first day of winter is like the 22nd or 23rd. So there's a little bit of difference there. But they honored the sun god on his birthday, which was the last week of December, when the first day of winter occurs. That's when they honored the sun god. And so the Roman Catholic Church they saw all these various nations celebrating the last week of December, and they said, hey, why don't we just make a mass for Christ and make it his birthday too? So it's all a big fabrication. It's fake news, folks. It's fake news. Now, if you'd like to get this article on Christmas, it's free of charge. There's no request for money. Here's the telephone number to call. It won't even cost you a stamp. Call this number right away, 704-938-6415, and we'll get this article to you about the origin of Christmas. Where did it come from? What is it? Is it something that you, as a Christian, if you are a Christian, ought to be celebrating? Isn't it interesting that even atheists celebrate Christmas? Well, anyway, here's the number, 704-938-6415. It's free of charge. And we're not going to give your name to anybody else. This is just, something. And we're not going to send you a lot of junk mail either. We don't do that. We just want to send you this article. 938-6415. Until next time, from Ambassador Christian College in Kannapolis, North Carolina, this has been Keith Slough.